Support for this podcast comes from the St. Alphonsus Neuroscience Institute, offering technology to provide treatment for neurological, neurosurgical, and neurointerventional conditions. This includes a dedicated neurotrauma ICU for critical care of the brain or spine and a 24/7 stroke team. More at stalphonsus.org. Hey, podcast listeners, want to stay informed without the daily email overload? Sign up for our free weekly newsletter. Every Tuesday morning, we bring you the top local stories, plus highlights from Idaho Matters and the Mountain West News Bureau, all in one easy read. Stay in the know without the clutter. Subscribe now at boisestatepublicradio.org.
From Boise State Public Radio, this is The Connector. It's Idaho's daily news. Good morning. I'm George Prentice. Today, we'll tell you about a number of hellos and goodbyes at the state capitol and over at Ketchum City Hall. Plus, we ask, how do you put together a road closure policy? It is Tuesday, the 6th of January. Here come today's stories. A Canyon County man is behind bars, charged with DUI in connection with a crash on State Street in Boise that killed a pedestrian. The crash was this past Sunday evening near 23rd and State Streets. Police say evidence indicates that the driver, 49-year-old William Sweet of Caldwell, drove off the road onto the grass and sidewalk and then struck an adult male pedestrian. First responders attempted life-saving measures, but the pedestrian died at the scene. Sweet was booked into the Ada County Jail on a felony DUI count. He's being held on $350,000 bail. Meanwhile, wintry conditions have made traveling very difficult in some parts of our region. Yesterday, a driver traveling northbound on US 93 lost control of his pickup on the icy roads. The pickup ended up in the Salmon River. The driver succumbed to his injuries at the scene. Here's an update on that New Year's Eve blast in downtown Boise that injured a young girl when an office window shattered during a fireworks blast. Shards of glass striking the girl. It required hours of surgery at a hospital. Meanwhile, the investigation continues by Boise police and fire. On Monday, the State Department of Administration, which oversees the state capitol, said two of its windows on the south side of the building, which faces Cecil Andrus Park, where the New Year's Eve event took place, were also cracked. And again, the investigation continues. Blizzards, avalanches, wildfires, and closed roads, and who has the authority to close those roads. That was the topic of discussion Monday before Valley County Commissioners. A team of officials, directors of roads and bridges, public and private land managers, all weighed in an effort to craft a county road closure policy.
Let's have an ordinance that talks about road closures in an independent section of the Valley County Code, and you can include in that for seasonal closures like wintertime closures.
Valley County Attorney Brian Oakey reminding commissioners that the road closures will become a bigger issue once Perpetua Resources ramps up its mining project in Valley County.
The Payette Avalanche Forecasting Center's forecasting model, and there are 5 different levels of risk related to avalanche. Also included in your packet is Perpetua's avalanche forecasting model. And it's a little different. But at some point on that model, when you get to a certain risk level, a decision is going to have to be made. Is the risk too high to continue to allow access to this area? That can then be communicated to Perpetua, who's going to actually put the barricades up.
Valley County lawmakers were encouraged to reach out to other counties to look for exact language on when and how to enact closures and how to enforce them. Legislators from across Idaho are making their way to the state capitol this week, setting up their offices in anticipation of the 2026 edition of the Idaho legislature. Things officially get underway next Monday with the governor's State of the State address. Later that week, the legislature's Economic Outlook Committee convenes and begins the process of trying to guess what revenues might look like for fiscal year 2027. Meanwhile, Idaho's House Speaker has chosen one of his deputies to lead the state legislative budget committee. As James Dawson reports, a Republican representative from Eagle, Josh Tanner, will take on the new role.
Tanner, who serves as the Assistant House Majority Leader, says he takes the appointment seriously. In a statement, he said, quote, every dollar appropriated represents money trusted to us by working Idahoans. That trust demands discipline, accountability, and a firm commitment to spend only what is necessary and nothing more, end quote. Tanner has routinely been one of the most conservative members of the Joint Finance and Appropriations Committee, or JFAC. In the past, he's called for cutting funding for Idaho Public Television and the complete elimination of the voter-approved Medicaid expansion program. Tanner takes over for former Representative Wendy Horman, who recently took a job in the Trump administration. James Dawson, Boise State Public Radio News.
In Ketchum last evening.
Okay, we have a kind of a special meeting today.
Outgoing Ketchum Mayor Neil Bradshaw opening last evening's special session, an opportunity for him and council members Amanda Breen and Courtney Hamilton to say goodbye after deciding not to run for re-election. The two council members who are staying, Tripp Hutchinson and Spencer Cordovano, who often clashed with the outgoing council members, had a few parting words.
And I think in my mind, I will remember you two as the two counselors with nearly 1,000 votes. I will be amazed if we see that again.
And I wish that we had spent more time together.
And then a farewell from Hamilton and Breen.
We have definitely had disagreements over the years. It's always a good thing for people up here to disagree, because I think it creates better, more robust policy making.
This role is to make hard decisions, and to not make a decision is a decision to support the status quo. And I am excited to see what the new leaders will do, and I encourage you to make the hard decisions, because that's what it will take to make this community better.
And with that, there were the swearings in of newly elected Ketchum Mayor Pete Prigiges and new council members Randy Hall and Matthew McGraw. They'll be getting down to business at their first council meeting on Thursday. And that is today's episode of The Connector. I'm George Prattis. We'll see you back here on Wednesday. If you're a bit of a news junkie, we've got so much for you on our website, boisestatepublicradio.org. Meanwhile, tell your friends and family about The Connector and how they can find it wherever they find their favorite podcasts. For now, to you, thanks for listening.
Looking for another podcast to listen to? Check out The Nature of Idaho from our partner station KISU in Eastern Idaho. Join hosts Peter Pruitt and Dr. Leif Tapanilla as they share fascinating stories from the Gem State's great outdoors, celebrating Idaho's wildlife, landscape, and natural wonders. That's The Nature of Idaho from KISU. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.